Hello everyone, welcome to FedScoop TV. My name is Greg Otto and we're coming from FedTalks 2016 today. And I'm talking with Susie Adams, the CTO of Microsoft Federal. Susie, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So it's been an interesting year in federal IT. Has there been anything that surprised you, or how do you see this all shaking out and moving forward?
You know, I don't think anything really surprised me per se.
Okay.
I think that, if you look at just where the federal agencies are today with their IT infrastructures, clearly they're focused now much more heavily than they were on IT modernization. There was a renewed focus there, as well as on cybersecurity with the cyber sprint, which was really focused on just good hygiene best practices, which I think is, important to do first thing out. But now even more so, really looking at advanced cybersecurity capabilities to help them manage that hybrid world that they'll be moving into as they address IT modernization, from moving applications from the on-premise into the cloud and having that hybrid world is very difficult to manage. And so we expected them to kind of start to look at anyhow, those advanced types of cyber solutions that can give them the complete picture and view of their IT environment, regardless where it lives.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about cybersecurity there. We're talking about the policy, and there's a new CISO as well, and you talked about how they're moving into this hybrid world. Is there anything else that industry can do to help modernize the way that agencies are protecting the data and their networks?
Absolutely. I mean, when we look at the advanced persistent threats and the ever-changing cyber landscape that's out there today, the threats they're more advanced than they've ever been in the past. They're more targeted than they've ever been, and frankly, the attack surfaces have grown. Not necessarily because agencies have introduced new technology, but because the attackers themselves, right, have gotten much more sophisticated and much more targeted. I think the bigger challenge for agencies moving forward is how are they going to address that hybrid space, and how are they going to look at this and do so in a different fashion. And so what I mean by this is, if you look at how we've done things in the past, we've really looked at things from a secure network of devices, where the network was the perimeter, right? And what we really did is just look at net flow data across the board on the network space. What we really need to do is flip that upside down and think of it from a network of secure devices, where every device is an endpoint, and we're actually managing those endpoints, right, and the analytics that we're getting for the data that we're getting from those endpoints. And I think what industry can really bring to bear here is that we've been doing this for quite some time. If you look at how Microsoft, for example, manages their cloud today, we have something called the Intelligent Security Graph. And really all this is a collection of all the information we're gathering from those sensors into a big data store that we then run predictive analytics on top of to be able to gain valuable insights that humans might not be able to see on a regular basis. And so we're actually taking all that information and looking at the trends and analyzing that so that we can give our customers more information about what potential attackers are there. And out of this has come some really interesting software products. We actually acquired a company called Adalom, and that is called Cloud App Security. And what this particular application does is give agencies the ability to have the same control and comfort level they had when they used to manage their on-premise, or they still manage their on-premise environment, but as they move to the cloud, to also be able to extend that to SaaS applications.
Okay.
So I call it cloud creep, where some agencies have no idea what SaaS applications are being used by the folks in their agencies. And so this gives you the ability to determine, is somebody using Box? Is somebody using Salesforce? Is somebody using Google Apps and it's not approved, maybe perhaps in that particular agency, and be able to look at that. The next, I think, really interesting thing that's coming out of this is advanced analytics around identity management. Okay. So one of the biggest challenges now is not necessarily, if the attacker has gained a particular credential, when they have gained them, they gain access, and it's very difficult to track because they gained it, lawfully in some ways, not really lawfully, but they gained it with valid credentials. And if you look at those valid credentials, how do you track where that user's been? And so now we have the ability to actually, based on what that particular user is doing, based on are they not behaving in the way that they usually do when they log into the systems, to be able to see those anomalies and then actually rate that particular end user, that credential, as high, moderate, or low threat. And then based on that, you can then go in as an administrator and assign policy. If this particular user logged on in 3 different locations around the globe in a matter of minutes, right? You can be pretty confident
Right.
that that credential has been
Right.
been compromised. So then you can based on policy, request that that end user be either locked out or perhaps reset their password or call the help desk. So all these things are coming out of work that industry is doing in this space, and it's really all around big data and advanced analytics capabilities.
So we talked about a lot of concepts there with identity management. We talked about hybrid cloud. We talked about the SaaS applications. IT modernization is such a hot topic right now inside the federal government. Is one of those subjects that we talked about where agencies need to modernize the most? Where do agencies need to modernize the most?
Wow. So I don't know that I could pick a single area. I think identity management is clearly one of them, and security capabilities, right? And the evolving landscape, I think they really need to look at security differently as they move forward. I mean, clearly, those are two big areas they need to focus on. But the mission critical applications and the applications that the information workers inside the agencies use on a regular basis also need to be modernized. Many of them grew up over the years based on the mission of a particular organization. And they were really just automating, manual processes that were there. And what we've seen now with the ability to have a shared services infrastructure with the cloud, right, or shared services hosted by agencies, there's a lot of opportunity to actually go out and walk through, and take inventory of the applications that are there, and then determine, which applications are good candidate for shared services that other agencies or other groups inside that agency might already have solutions for, which are good targets for IaaS versus PaaS versus SaaS, and which just simply need to be retired.
Right.
And so I think it's really kind of the three different areas they need to look at. It's really application modernization. They need to look at, how are we going to manage our identities moving forward so our information workers can work the way that they need to, and that our citizens can communicate with us the way they need to and feel secure about doing so. And then the third one is cybersecurity. Right, and really modernizing their cybersecurity space.
Great. Well, Susie, appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks.
For all of our videos, check out our YouTube channel, and for more information, check out fedscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.